I think I'm just gonna start every video like that now. Isn't that ridiculous? That's ridiculous. So I watched this movie for the first time about like 2 months ago with my friend Haley. Shout out Haley, love you. And I hated it, every single second of it. So naturally I want to talk about it. So you might be thinking, but Clooney, you're Australian. How have you never seen this movie before? It's literally called Kangaroo Jack. Shut up. Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people watching this video are advised that it may contain images, voices, artworks, and stories of people who have passed away. I'd like seen the DVD cover. I think my friend had it growing up, but I just never watched it because I wasn't enticed by this fucking image. I hated it so much. This kangaroo looked like he was up to no good and I hated him. I didn't want to watch him. This movie has everything. Sexism, racism, stereotypes, gay jokes, fart jokes, training montages, and someone dropping the R slur. So you know it's a 2000s bona fide classic, baby. Kangaroo Jack is a 2003 buddy comedy directed by David McNally and written by Steve Bing and Scott Rosenberg. None of them are Australian, by the way. In the movie, we follow two childhood best friends from Brooklyn, a hairdresser named Charlie, played by Jerry O'Connell, and his best friend who saved him from dying as a kid, Lewis, played by Anthony Anderson. I do want to say before we get too much further into this video that Anthony Anderson was by far my favorite actor in the entire movie. Even though they give Lewis some terrible, and I mean terrible, lines, Anthony actually makes the character likable, and I find that shocking with the script that they were given because he's basically just the butt of a joke constantly. So props to him for making this character likable and funny and giving him a little bit of depth at the same time. It was kind of a masterclass with bad writing. I feel bad saying it's bad writing, but it's not good. So Charlie and Lewis end up getting into a car chase, which lands them in trouble with the mob, who is run by Charlie's stepdad, Sal, who is played by Christopher Walken. What the fuck? Sal then forces the two of them to fly to Australia with $50,000, which they've been instructed to give to a man called Mr. Smith upon arrival, but they don't know that Mr. Smith has been instructed to kill them once he gets the $50,000 from them. And wouldn't you know it, they end up losing all of the money and they have to go on a wacky adventure to get it all back. Now, I know what you're thinking. How do you lose $50,000? Well, it's quite simple, actually. Charlie and Lewis are driving in the outback when they hit a kangaroo with their car. Lewis then decides to put his lucky red jacket on the kangaroo and have a photo shoot with the dead kangaroo, but turns out the kangaroo actually wasn't dead, he was just knocked out. He then wakes up, kicks Charlie square in the face, and jumps off with the jacket, which naturally has the $50,000 in the pocket of it. That's plausible, right? I should add that when they initially made this movie, it was intended to have an R rating and be a mob comedy called Down and Under. And I hate that title, that's awful. But it didn't test well with audiences, so one of the producers decided to reframe it as a PG buddy comedy and add a bunch of scenes of an anthropomorphic kangaroo into it. All that tells me is that it was gonna be shit either way. Now that you have an understanding of what kind of film we're dealing with, let's jump in. I have so many problems with this movie, but my first problem is the opening credits being accompanied by didgeridoo music. Because that's all we listen to in Australia. So like I said before, we have our two protagonists, Charlie and Lewis, two childhood best friends who became best friends when Lewis saved Charlie from drowning one day on a beach in Brooklyn. They really don't want you to forget that they're from Brooklyn in this movie. Now, as much as Charlie and Lewis are our two protagonists in the movie, it's very clear that Charlie has more screen time than Lewis does, especially since they give him a voiceover backstory at the beginning of the movie.
But my story doesn't begin in Australia. It begins 20 years ago, halfway around the world, on a beach in Brooklyn.
They also introduce every single character with these annoying title cards that I guess are meant to have an Australian feel or font to them. I don't know. It pisses me off. I'm also so shocked that they got Christopher Walken to be a part of this movie. I'm almost certain that in the original draft, his part was a lot bigger before they changed the entire film and edit. We then transport 20 years into the future where Charlie is a hairdresser and Louis is selling TVs and needs Charlie's help to finish his route in time. But it turns out the truck they're driving is stolen and now they're being chased by the cops through the middle of Brooklyn. By the way, this does not look like Brooklyn.
Turns out I was right about this because they actually filmed this car chase in Sydney, not in Brooklyn.
They end up escaping the police somehow and get to their destination on time. But turns out the person they're delivering the TVs to are the lackeys of the mob boss, which is Charlie's stepdad, Sal Maggio. But the cops manage to find them again, and now it's every man for himself. As Charlie, Louis, and Louis's dog Waffles are trying to escape from the police, Louis says,
Waffles! She's frozen with fear!
I don't think I've seen a dog look that happy in a movie before. Also, this dog only shows up at the start of the movie and at the end of the movie, so nothing happens to the dog. Waffles is fine. They manage to escape, but they end up getting in trouble with Sal, who tells them that they are both being sent to Australia, specifically Cooper Pedy, to deliver a package to a man named Mr. Smith, no later than noon local time. Keep hold of that information, okay? Also, everyone say hi to Michael Shannon because he's in this movie for some reason. So they get on a plane and they fly to Sydney. I do want to point out that at one point, Charlie asks Louis how much longer of their flight is left. And he says that they have 14 hours left and they haven't had any food so far given to them. So we all know that they flew with Jetstar. So then Charlie goes to the bathroom, not before hitting on a woman along the way. Louis then decides to open the package to see what they're delivering and finds $50,000 in cash. Louis then runs to the bathroom to join Charlie inside of it to show him what he's found, and they both say a bunch of stuff that sounds super incriminating. My question is if the flight attendant could hear what they were saying, then surely she would have heard Louis say that they have $50,000 in the envelope. So now they land in Sydney and they have to get through Australian customs with $50,000. Now, Australia's customs are some of the most intense in the world. Like, Australia is notorious for not letting a lot of very particular items through our borders. So it honestly shocks me that Louis's plan to get the money through worked, but what doesn't shock me is that Charlie was arrested for having a pair of scissors on him. Now, was this intense customs scene just a chance to get Charlie shirtless? Yes. Did I want to see that? No. They end up letting Charlie go, and now our boys are driving to Cooper Pedy. Now, if you've never been to Australia before, I just want to explain where Cooper Pedy is. As you can see on this map, Sydney is right here, and Cooper Pedy is all the way over here, which is quite a fair distance to drive. Now, this movie makes it look like they just went straight out of Sydney Airport, drove about 40 minutes and got exactly to where they needed to be. But it really would have taken them 21 hours and 45 minutes to get there.
God, I hate this movie!
You could have flown them into Adelaide Airport. At least that would have been closer than Sydney. You would still have to drive 8 hours and 52 minutes to get there though. Or, and here's a thought, you could have flown them into Cooper Pedy Airport because they have an airport there. If there's one thing I hate about this movie, it's that they do not know what Australia is like. Sure, these outback red dirt places exist, but not near Sydney. Charlie and Louis start driving to Cooper Pedy, and to pass the time, they start beatboxing and singing Land Down Under because this movie is set in Australia, in case you didn't know that.
Living in the land down under. You better run. You better take cover.
When suddenly they hit a kangaroo in the middle of the road. Again, super unrealistic that their car did not get damaged at all when they hit the kangaroo. They then decide that the kangaroo looks like a guy they know back in Brooklyn named Jackie Legs. So then Louis decides to put his lucky red jacket onto the dead kangaroo and have a photo shoot with the dead kangaroo, him and Charlie, for their Christmas card. I do want to point out that they only call this kangaroo Jackie Legs in the movie. No one calls him Kangaroo Jack, and frankly, Jackie Legs is a stupid name, so I'm not calling him that. But the kangaroo ends up waking up and kicking Charlie square in the face, which should have killed him, in my opinion, before jumping off with the $50,000 in the jacket pocket. Charlie and Lewis end up chasing the kangaroo in their car and destroy a bunch of land in the process, which I think they should be fined for. The kangaroo ends up getting away and the boys end up crashing the car, so now they have to walk to Cooper Pedy. Just a reminder that they were meant to meet Mr. Smith, played by Martin Sokus, at noon. And even though we have no clear indication as to what the time is, I'm gonna guess that they're late. They then arrive at a pub in Central Australia, which is not a place. Charlie immediately orders a pint of beer and Lewis asks where the phone is.
I ran near the Dunnies.
You guys have a Denny's?
No, the Dunny. The Bog Trough. The Long Drop. The Thunderbox.
You know what? I'm just gonna look for it by the bathroom. All right?
Ooh, I love a stereotype. We then meet a local at the pub named Blue, played by Bill Hunter. You're learning every single Australian actor's name in this movie because I hate that all the main characters are American in a movie called Kangaroo Jack, who upon meeting Charlie immediately calls him Chazza, which is a very Australian thing to do, I will say that. Lewis then dials Mr. Smith's number and tells us that they are only 2 hours late, which means that it's 2 p.m, which means they would have started driving at latest 5 p.m. the previous day. Do you think they did that?
Hey, I hate to do this again, but did you catch in that last clip there that it said Central Australia, Alice Springs? Now, I hate to bring up the map again, but let's bring up the map super quickly. Do you see where Alice Springs is? Do you think that's anywhere close to Cooper Pedy, which is where they're meant to be? Your answer is very correct. They're nowhere close to it right now. In fact, they are a 6 hour and 59-minute drive away from Cooper Pedy right now. So I'm going to guess that the writers have never been to Australia before or have even looked at a map of it, because I don't understand how they think any of this is plausible location-wise, truly.
Lewis is then met with a very angry Mr. Smith, who quite possibly delivers the most Australian slang words in one monologue I've ever heard. So here's the scene with the translation at the bottom for you.
But
Where are you, bludgers? I'm out here in the back of Bullet McCanker up to my ears in heat stroke, waiting for you two Yanks. Where's me package? I don't reckon you respect me very much. First you steal my package and now you're on the phone razzing me about it. You'd be a banger short of a barbie if you didn't. When I find you, you better get ready to cough it up, otherwise I'll chop you into snags and feed you to the crocs. Have a nice day. One of me favourites.
Lewis then goes to an Outback Wildlife Foundation where we meet Jessie. Now don't worry, she will be sexualized throughout the rest of this movie.
Turns out I was so mad about this movie that I forgot to say who plays Jessie. Jessie is played by Estella Warren, who actually, fun fact, used to be a synchronized swimmer. So props to her for that.
Jessie's job is to repopulate the declining bilby population, and Lewis calls them ugly rabbits. Bilbies are adorable, okay? Please leave them alone. Jessie then decides to help Lewis out by making a list of what he needs to do in order to get his lucky red jacket back. We then get our first cutscene of the kangaroo acting stupid by himself, because that's comedy. The way to get Lewis's lucky red jacket and the $50,000 back is to find a pilot, go to a reserve where all the wild kangaroo like to gather, hit the kangaroo with a tranquilizer gun, and get their stuff back. The best pilot in town just happens to be our friend Blue, who is so drunk that he just collapsed on the floor of the bar.
Porcelain.
They end up sobering Blue up, who tells them that that's just his morning ritual, which means we also get another stereotype of Australians being drunk all the time. Also, Blue looks so excited to fly this plane right now. He's just so adorable. Look how happy he is. They end up finding the kangaroo and trying to hit him with the tranquilizer gun, but they end up hitting Blue instead, which causes them to crash the plane and destroy more of the natural land. Charlie and Lewis decide to try and find Jessie to get her to help them, so they start walking east and leave Blue behind with the plane. They just abandon Blue. We then cut back to the bar that the three of them were just in to see that Mr. Smith is looking for them. And why is there a cockatoo in the back of this bar? Because Charlie and Lewis are MIA, Sal has sent Michael Shannon, I don't know his character's name and I don't care to learn it, and a couple of his goons to Australia to find them. He's picked up at the airport by Mr. Jimmy, played by Australian acting icon David Nungumbara. I'm really sorry if I'm pronouncing his name wrong, but he has been in so much Australian film and TV. Seriously, go look him up. He's an incredible actor. Mr. Jimmy then takes them to find Charlie and Lewis, who we see are about to be attacked by dingoes.
Hey, Charlie, you gotta help me out, man. They gonna get me like they got that baby.
They then get stuck in a sandstorm, talk about how hungry they are. We haven't seen them eat anything yet in this movie. We've only seen them drink alcohol. They experience a mirage, all before they finally meet up with Jessie. Charlie, however, thinks Jessie is a mirage and decides to grope her. Jessie has the only appropriate reaction, which is punching him in the face. She did what I've wanted to do since I saw this man's face. In his state of being knocked out, we get this scene.
It's you. Yeah, it's me. I said a hip hop. I am Jackie Legs, and I'd like to say hello.
Stop that!
If I find out what, Charlie, that you lost my money?
It was Lewis.
Say what? My fault. That's how you pay me back after I saved your life? You were right about him. Chicken blood.
Chicken blood.
Oi, chicken blood. Chicken blood. Chicken blood.
The kangaroo is voiced by Adam Garcia. Oh, and Mr. Smith is getting closer to finding our boys. Charlie wakes up, unfortunately, and asks Jessie to help them by offering her $2,000 for her wildlife research. We also find out that Jessie moved to Australia for a semester abroad in college and never left because she really loves it there. I just want everyone to remember that Jessie has ambitions and she loves the life that she's living. Also, Lewis eats some berries and they make multiple camel fart jokes that is topped off with a Lewis fart joke.
What is with these camels?
That one was me.
Classic. The three of them then go to the closest water reserve because Jessie says that that's where they'll find their kangaroo. They travel there, set up camp, and then have a training montage so that they can capture their kangaroo. They manage to find their kangaroo, but Jessie doesn't want to spook him away, so she suggests that they use camouflage. At least now we can tick cultural appropriation off the list. They get so close to capturing the kangaroo, but Lewis screams out in pain because a colony of fire ants have crawled up his leg and are attacking him, so the kangaroo hops away. Can't blame Lewis for that. As much as Charlie really wants to. Dude, that's your best friend. You need to chill out. Because they've painted themselves, they need to wash it off. So we get an insane shot of Jessie bathing herself in a waterfall. See, I told you they'd keep sexualizing her. We then get the most uncomfortable scene in this movie because even though Jessie tells Charlie to go away while she's bathing in the waterfall, Charlie ignores this, dives in, gets closer to her, and ends up kissing her, all while they continue to force this poor woman to have chemistry with this average looking man. Oh my god, I hate Charlie. He also doesn't understand what consent is very clearly. They're about to kiss again when Lewis interrupts them by doing a cannonball into the waterfall. Thank you, Lewis. Lewis is just an ally. Well, he's not because he makes a gay joke later, so. We then transport to the next morning and Mr. Smith has found them. Oh no! The three of them then get tied up and Mr. Smith threatens to kill Charlie before Jessie decides to tell Mr. Smith that they'll find the kangaroo with the money at a feeding ground about 3 kilometers away. Mr. Smith then takes Jessie with him to the feeding ground while his lackeys take Charlie and Lewis in the other direction to kill them. Now don't worry, they're not gonna die because Charlie still has his scissors from earlier, even though customs definitely would have confiscated them, but Charlie and Lewis managed to escape. How these two idiots managed to escape so effortlessly is beyond me. Now if all of this is a bit serious for you, don't worry because we have a cutscene of our kangaroo friend eating candy out of the other jacket pocket. That money should have fallen out. Charlie and Lewis managed to rescue Jessie and hold Mr. Smith at gunpoint when Michael Shannon turns up and reveals that he's been the bad guy all along. The bad guys end up getting mad at the other bad guys and then the bad guys end up fighting the other bad guys. Our three heroes end up seeing our kangaroo friend jumping off into the distance, so they decide to chase after him to get their money back, all while riding camels. We then get an insane car chase where the car is clearly going faster than the camels can run. We also get this insane line from Michael Shannon.
I hate this country like a sickness.
Damn, man. Then the car ends up crashing so badly, like someone should have died, right? Our three heroes chase the kangaroo close to a cliff edge. Lewis ends up getting the money, but he ends up going over the edge of the cliff and grabbing onto a tree root to save himself from sudden death. Charlie then comes up with a plan to save Lewis that involves holding onto a rope tied around a camel's neck. My God, that poor camel. Also, Charlie makes another fat joke.
You have really got to cut back on the pie.
They end up saving Lewis and the money. Hooray! Hooray! But somehow Michael Shannon survives that car crash and ends up telling Charlie and Lewis that they were paying for their own murder this entire time. I have no idea how they haven't figured that out yet. But before Michael Shannon can kill the two of them, Mr. Jimmy comes to the rescue. Yeah, it turns out he was an undercover cop this entire time. Whilst being arrested, Michael Shannon drops the R slur, which caps off our list of what makes a 2000s movie great. Charlie and Lewis have a heart-to-heart about their friendship where Lewis drops this insane line.
Come on, Charlie. Guilt was the glue that held this friendship together.
The writers cooked with that. They solidify their friendship and Lewis makes a gay joke.
We're having a very intimate, non-gay moment.
Before they suddenly meet back up with their kangaroo friend, and they manage to get Lewis's lucky red jacket back. The kangaroo then brings his kangaroo family to meet our three heroes, where the little tiny baby kangaroo kicks Charlie in the face, which of course is hilarious and makes everybody laugh. Finally, the movie is over, but not without some Charlie voiceover, which tells us that 1 year later, all the bad guys are in jail, Sal is on trial, Charlie and Jesse got married, and that Charlie used the $50,000 to start a brand new shampoo and conditioner line that smells like the berries that Lewis was eating earlier in the movie. He also tells us this from the comfort of his own boat because he is oh so very rich. Also, we get to see Waffles again, and they all lived richly ever after.
Wait a minute. The movie's called Kangaroo Jack. It should end with me.
Oh my God, I hate this movie. David McNally, truly, how do you go from Coyote Ugly to this? Like, I just want to know. Also, am I meant to believe that Jessie gave up her entire life in Australia for Charlie? Or did she magically repopulate the Bilby population in less than a year? If you couldn't tell, I don't like this movie. But thank you for watching me talk about it. If you liked this kind of video, please let me know. Also, let me know if there are any other bad 2000s movies you'd like me to talk about. With that all being said, thank you. I love you. I hope you have an amazing day, and I'll see you soon. Bye.